and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. Thank you for being here today, and I hope you enjoy the show. Well, I have the pleasure of having, two terrific men with us today. One who's been here before by the name of Jacques Lamarre. He's a playwright, and also director Jared Masacci, who is the co-conceiver. We're going to talk about their play that's coming out in April called Circus Fire, as well as a lot of other things. So I hope you enjoy the show. And Jacques and Jared, thank you both so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
Jacques, why don't we start with you? Let's reintroduce you to the audience again. Why don't you take us back into your background? Let us get to know you.
Sure. Well, I am a Connecticut-based playwright. I've been in Connecticut for over 35 years, but have grew up in New Hampshire, which just coincidentally, Jared grew up the next town over from me, although I'm slightly older than him, as your viewers could probably tell. And I started working in a theater called the American Stage Festival. And after I graduated from college, I came down to Hartford, Connecticut, and worked at Hartford Stage for 9 years. Also worked at TheaterWorks, Yale Repertory Theater, and the Mark Twain House and Museum. And started my career as a playwright. Actually, I started my career as a playwright back when I was in high school and college at the American Stage Festival, writing children's plays. But then I started writing kind of plays for grown-ups probably about 14 years ago now, I would say. And have had a tremendous amount of good luck, and I think that's probably a good primer on me.
Did you know, you've had a tremendous background in many things. Did you know that being a playwright was going to be one of the things that you would be pursuing at this stage in your life?
You know, I tried my hand at it, in the late 80s, early 90s, and enjoyed it, but then got away from it. And I can't even necessarily tell you why I got away from it. I mean, I was still working in theater, and kind of later got back into it via writing for drag performers. And so I started writing for this drag performer named Varla Jean Merman over 20 years ago, and that kind of got me back into writing for the stage. And so it wasn't anything I had necessarily planned on. I took one playwriting class in college, but my life has been in theater, and I've always been drawn to the playwrights that I worked with when I was marketing for theater. So it's just something that I was very attracted to, and I'm very fortunate to have the luck that I've had.
And Jared, I'll ask the same question of you if you don't mind. Why don't you take us back into your background? I know your title is director. Tell us about yourself.
So ever since I was very young, I loved making theater, whether it was on stage as an actor or off stage as a designer or director. And I've had a really great fortune of the last 2 decades of working in New York and all over the country, both as a multimedia projections designer and also as a multimedia theater director. And I say multimedia because most of the work that I experiment with and make all have to do with kind of modern technology and how are we telling stories with projectors, cameras, that sort of thing, in a way that isn't accidentally getting in the way of the story, but is actually propelling it forward. And so for the last 15, 20 years, I lived in New York City for a bit, and then I moved down to Washington, D.C., where I created a new curriculum in multimedia theater making in an MFA program at the University of Maryland, used that as kind of my research and development center for the last 13 years, and then just 2 years ago moved back to Hudson Valley to be closer to New York and really take a full leap into just freelance directing. And I love this type of work. I love work that is dealing with history. I love work that's dealing with psychology and kind of the psychology of the self. And I feel like this project in particular sort of is at the crossroads of both of those things. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Now, your title is director. Tell us about your background in that. Did you know growing up that you wanted to be a director?
I always knew that I wanted to be in the creative process of making theater, which has led me to directing mostly. I love being off stage and helping shape the total stage picture, more so than being on stage. And I felt that pretty quickly when I was just acting early on in my career. But I've always wanted to be part of the kind of co-authorship of making new work in particular, not necessarily already made work that I am taking and kind of putting my own spin on it, but actually like developing new work is something I've always loved. A theater that I grew up in New Hampshire, Andy's Playhouse, which was right down the street from American Stage Festival, is a children's theater, but is entirely focused on making new work with playwrights in the room. And so it's that I've always wanted. I've wanted to be in rooms where the playwrights in there, we're all shaping it together. And over the last like 7 years, I've really settled into that. I think the vantage point I like the most is as director, but really working side by side with the playwright to make sure that what we are making is the thing that is in all of our heads. So.
And Jacques, one of the main reasons why you're here is to talk about your play that will be being performed in April called Circus Fire. Why don't you tell us about that?
Being a person who's lived in Hartford now for over 30 years, it's hard to avoid one of the most significant historical events that occurred in the city, and that was July 6, 1944, when the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus came to Hartford, and the tent caught fire about 20 minutes into the show and completely burned within 10 minutes. Some believe about 8 minutes, and underneath the tent at the time, there were thousands and thousands of people, somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,000 to 9,000 people. And 168 people died, many hundreds were injured. And that had a profound effect on the city of Hartford. It had a profound effect on the circus industry, on the state of Connecticut, on fire safety. And this year is TheaterWorks' 40th anniversary season, and they wanted to do something that spoke to the community, and this play is very much about community.
Was there a reason why you decided to write about this particular situation? Did something spark your interest to pursue it?
Well, over 10 years ago, I would say, I did an author program at the Mark Twain House and Museum. As I mentioned, I was the director of marketing there. I also did special programs, and those special programs included events with authors. And so I was, aware of the Circus Fire, but I had never attended the Circus Fire annual commemoration. I had never been to visit the memorial where the fire took place. And so I did for this particular anniversary year, and I think it was probably the 70th anniversary of the Circus Fire, did a author talk with two authors who'd written books about the Circus Fire. And I thought, this is a holiday weekend. It was July 6th, so I assumed that we wouldn't get many people there, and it was packed. It was standing room only, and a number of the people who were there were survivors of the Circus Fire. When you think that most of the people in attendance that day were women and children. It was a weekday, so a lot of the breadwinners were at work or they were at war. And so, because this is during World War II, a lot of the survivors who were, 5 or 6 at the time, are now in their 80s and 90s. But they showed up and they were really wanting to tell their stories. And you could see how vivid the memories of this event still are with these survivors and the connection that this community has with it. So that was kind of my first clue that there was something about telling this story theatrically that I wanted to do.
Okay, let's hold that thought and take a break. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. We are going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. Thank you for tuning in. My conversation continues on with Jacques and Jared. And Jared, you are listed as director and co-conceiver, and I take it that's also about the play Circus Fire. Why don't you tell us about your interaction with this play and with Jacques?
So I was approached by TheatreWorks Hartford, a little bit further into the development of the idea of it from Jacques' initial interest in this story, and so Rob Ruggiero, who is the artistic director at TheatreWorks Hartford, introduced me to Jacques. I met him at a show that I was directing at TheatreWorks Hartford a season ago called Sandra, and we pretty quickly started chatting about what this project could be, and he introduced me to all the books that he was reading, and I sort of did a heavy hitting deep dive into the history of it, and immediately became obsessed with kind of the story of it, the event around it, the lead up to it, and kind of the aftermath of it. And from there, Jacques, Rob, and I have had several meetings where we would talk about the books that we read, would talk about the podcasts and articles that we were listening to, and sort of circling the themes that we each were interested in and which ones started to overlap, to then have the conversation deepen in a very particular angle to it. And from there, Jacques then has been writing draft after draft of this piece and sending it my way. I'll give my thoughts and feedback, not in terms of what's right or wrong, but what continues to compel me about the story and what's interesting about how Jacques is thinking about the piece, and also offering up stage pictures that come to mind, what I would do with some of the text should it stay in the play, and what that might do to inspire Jacques as he continues to write the play, and sort of creating a cyclical circuit between Jacques and I to kind of continue to inspire each other as we are very quickly approaching our first day of rehearsal. We've also had a couple of workshops with actors so that we can hear the thing aloud, because it reads very differently than it's heard, as is every play. And so to have that worked through, and we just finished up a 1-week workshop where it wasn't just to hear it, but actually work scene by scene through it to really understand what we're trying to do with the text, and continue to refine what the angle is that this particular script that we're making together is trying to say about the event and about community as a whole.
And Jacques, one of the things that we had talked about is the website, which is twhartford.org. What will the viewer find when they go there?
What will they find?
Yes,
Well,
is that about the play and about tickets you were mentioning?
yeah, the tickets are on sale now. We have not yet announced the location of the play. TheaterWorks is producing the play, and it will be performed in Hartford. But the location is remaining a secret at the moment. But I can tell you that it will be a historic site and that the performance environment will be, I think, somewhat reminiscent of a circus. Um, and it will be a mix of old school entertainment and pretty high tech entertainment. So it's going to be wild. I'm really excited about it. But yeah, but tickets are on sale now, and actually some of the performances are already selling out, which is very exciting.
I'm excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank
For
you.
the playwright that's out there that's listening to us now, Jacques, what would your advice be as to how to get started or to how to get your work out there? I know you've had great success. What would be your advice as to how to walk the path like you have?
Well, my path, every opportunity that I've had has come through relationships and networking. It's very rare that something will come along, at least as far as a new piece, with a theater that I don't have a relationship with. And whether or not that's, with an individual at that theater or they've done something of mine before. And so, I've had a very good relationship with TheaterWorks and with Rob, as well as Seven Angels Theater in Waterbury. They've done, I think, 6 of my plays. And so, for me, it's all about cultivating friendships and relationships and trust, and finding who are those organizations and artists who sync with what you do and the stories that you want to tell. And so, and one of the things for me was not being snobby about what kind of theater could do my work. The first things that I had done were done by community theaters, and that really allowed me to get work on stage and start to develop a reputation for being a playwright, because for years I was the marketing guy. And I mean, I'm still a marketing guy, but I'm also a playwright. But not being precious about those opportunities allowed me to get on a lot of stages that helped launch me.
And Jared, I'll ask you the same question, but from a director's point of view, what would your advice be for somebody to kind of follow your path? How does somebody call themselves a director?
Yeah, I actually want to echo Jacques. Surround yourself with the people that you trust and that want to leap in the same directions that you want to leap. I think, and also just trust your tuition. My path has certainly been abnormal, being a designer, then a writer, then a director, and now kind of a co-conceiver and director. I just think it. In the end, when I think about all of the moments that I felt like I was stepping forward in my career as opposed to sideways or backwards, it always had to do with, it always coincided with being surrounded by the people that I actually trust the most. And so I would just say, it's not about climbing ladders, it's about building bands and having your bandmates and understanding how to create shorthand with the people that want to make the same type of work as you. And sure enough, over time, that continuity will allow you to take bigger leaps and also allow you to kind of have a consistency to the world around you, seeing the work that you're doing. That can only come when you are with the same people and the people that you really are loving making work with.
And Jared, we have mentioned theater, but what are some of the other things that you may be interested in? Have you done anything in film, television, video, commercials, any other genre that you've thought about that you'd like to pursue?
Yeah, I've always wanted to. I mean, my life in the theater has been really wonderful and successful. Every once in a while, I will go out and get hired to do a music video or some kind of installation art piece. And I really love music videos. I really love making kind of the short form stories that music videos and kind of commercials do. But as of now, my theater career is really thriving, and I love it. And I'm just going to keep at it there until another phone call happens and it's another cool person I want to work with, and I'll just keep saying yes. So like I did here with Jacques.
And Jacques, I know that you are concentrating right now on Circus Fire and its premiere in April, but have you thought about any other things you want to do in 2026, even into 2027?
Well, I'm always working on plays. I'll start something and set it aside for whatever reason. I might just get busy or distracted. There are no immediate plans for any other project except for some of the drag shows that I'm working on that will be up in Provincetown. I currently have 4 drag shows that I collaborated on running in Puerto Vallarta at the Palm Cabaret. And so I know that I'll be working with those 4 artists again in this summer. So there's that, but there's a drama that I've been working on and a comedy that I've been working on. So knock on wood, someone will want to do those things.
And Jared, I'll ask you the same questions. Any thoughts about anything else happening after the play in 2026, 2027 that you would like to accomplish or that you're working on?
Yeah, I have a bunch of projects and workshops right now, and really, I love the scripts, but they all have some really big idea in it that I'm about to go into workshops with as well. So one of the things right up ahead, actually right before Circus Fire, I have a 3-day workshop in DC where I'm working on a show where everyone in the audience will have headphones on. And everything is like very close up into their ear. And so we're going to do some tests there. But that's kind of the next big experimental project after Circus Fire, moving into the fall. So I'm excited to just keep tinkering.
And I think the viewer will probably hear workshop. What does the workshop term mean to you, Jared?
Yeah, it means one of many things actually, but it's really naming something in the script that you want to work on and get actors and or designers and the playwright and producers in a room for. It can vary between a day and having just a read through of the script to get feedback on how it sounds, to a week or 10 days in which you could workshop bringing in some technology and some designers, always the playwright and always some actors in the room, to really just experiment and have a presentation at the end of it so that there's clear feedback. It's like a prototyping shop, whether it's about figuring out if the script is working and if it needs revisions, or if the ideas are working and if those need revisions, before getting into rehearsal proper, which sort of is the start of a stopwatch getting to opening night. So this is a way to kind of take a deep breath, experiment, and prototype some of the bigger ideas.
And Jacques, as the playwright, do you have any say as regards to the actors, the scenic designers, the prop people, any kind of input that way, or do you kind of back away once you've turned the play in?
I would say I have kind of minimal input on that. Generally, it depends on the production and the folks that I'm working with, but Rob, who's the artistic director, and Jared did a round of auditions a while back and have been putting the cast together. I was asked in this case, because one of the things that's really cool is we're only using Connecticut based actors for this show, which is very rare in professional theater in Connecticut. So there were a number of people that I recommended, but they had to come in and audition for the show with Jared and Rob. So ultimately the decision lies with those two gentlemen, as well as the choice of designers.
Jared, very briefly, closing thoughts for the viewer. Anything that you'd like to leave with them before you say goodbye?
Yeah, I'm just really excited for a piece like this to enter into the Hartford community. It's going to be in a site-specific location with, as Jacques is saying, local Hartford actors about an event that took place in Hartford. And I just think it's rare to have all three of those things aligned so beautifully. And so I'm excited for everyone to come and explore a little bit about the history that they embody as they walk around the city they live in. So I'm really, really thrilled by it.
Well, thank you. And how about you, Jacques? You have the closing thought here.
I just want people to come see this show. We've been working really hard, and I think it's going to be special, and I can't wait to share it with everyone.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you both so much for being here and continued success. We wish you great things as this play debuts April 16th through May 17th, and you can find further information about it at twhartford.org. Well, I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I'm at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day again, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.